The conversation opens with Sean discussing his love for in-person podcast recordings, seeing it as an opportunity to enhance the quality of his work.
I totally think it's much better if you're in person. So whenever I can do that.
Sean shares his excitement for an upcoming trip to Boston, where he plans to capture multiple interviews with his portable podcast studio, highlighting his dedication to genuine interactions.
I love my little portable podcast studio. Going to Boston, I'm trying to get like 10 people on the podcast.
The discussion shifts to mutual appreciation for contributions to the podcasting world, with the host expressing gratitude for Sean's work and its widespread availability.
I'm excited you're doing it, and thank you for writing the book, and thank you for coming in here and talking about it. And if people want to get your podcast, it's available on iTunes. It's everywhere, wherever podcasts are sold. Yeah.
The focus then moves to Sean's main projects, the podcast and the book.
Anything else? Many things. But, this is good.
Yeah, the podcast and the book are the things I'm hearing.
The exchange ends with gratitude and anticipation for Sean's future endeavors.
Always a pleasure, Sean. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here. Bye, everybody.
Sean and the host dive into the evolving human understanding of complex theories like quantum mechanics. The host uses an analogy comparing this journey to a radio tuning into a distant signal, illustrating the slow yet significant progress of scientific comprehension.
When I was reading it, I was thinking, a thought came across my mind that it's almost like the human brain is a radio that's picking up a distant signal but getting better and better at tuning into it all the time.
Yeah, but no, I like the analogy very much because the human brain did not evolve to understand quantum mechanics, right? It didn't evolve to understand science at all.
Sean explains that developing logic and theory is a significant advancement in our evolution. Quantum mechanics challenges our intuitive grasp of reality.
Quantum mechanics is the biggest challenge that we have in physics to our intuitive understanding of the world.
The human understanding of the world we live in has obviously radically changed over the last 500 years. Quantum mechanics and quantum theory to me almost seems like an ant trying to understand the choices on Netflix, right?
While the host suggests that quantum theory may be beyond our grasp, Sean disagrees, noting it's difficult but not impossible. He draws a parallel to Turing complete machines, emphasizing our potential to achieve complex computations.
Nope, I gotta disagree. I think it's just hard. I think there's a difference. A Turing machine, invented by Alan Turing, is a computational device that can essentially do any computation that can be done.
This illustrates that, like Turing complete machines, our intellectual journey holds boundless potential, hinting at humanity's continuous quest to decode the universe. The conversation shifts to Sean Carroll's intellectual adventure with quantum mechanics and how podcasting fuels his inquiries. Understanding quantum mechanics is crucial for grasping quantum gravity and the theory of everything.
Maybe we need to understand quantum mechanics to better understand quantum gravity and the theory of everything. How should we expect to understand quantum gravity if we don't understand quantum mechanics? Come on.
Sean shares the motivation behind his podcast, Mindscape, which emerged from his book, The Big Picture. It provides a platform to engage with intellectuals across diverse fields.
And what was the motivation behind starting your podcast? It's called Mindscape?
Yeah, Mindscape. I've been having lots of fun with the podcast. The motivation was when I wrote my previous book, The Big Picture. I've talked to Nobel Prize winners, MacArthur Prize winners, philosophers, biologists, documentary filmmakers. I just really have a blast.
Podcasting, Sean explains, doesn't replace books but inspires new perspectives, sparking ideas that broaden understanding.
Let's say we're telling the audience this, but it's different. It doesn't replace things like books, okay? But books are always where you can get into the weeds a little bit more specific.
It sparks ideas in people that seemingly mundane existence maybe just would never get in there, and it allows these new areas of inquiry.
By fostering discussions across various disciplines, Sean's journey through podcasting exemplifies curiosity that encourages embracing uncertainty and exploring transformative inquiry. The digital age has transformed how we exchange information and hold each other accountable. Our expert today, Sean, reflects on the internet's power in reshaping public discourse, driving individuals to reconsider their beliefs, similar to cross-cultural interactions that prompt societies to reevaluate norms.
It's a really exciting time to spread information. The internet calls you on your crap. Before, you could spout off opinions without much feedback. Now, people challenge you, making you think, oh, maybe I am full of shit.
Sean believes that if one is intellectually responsible, public critique becomes a valuable tool. He contrasts his own approach to the internet with that of Seth MacFarlane, who actively engages with audience feedback.
Different people have different strategies. Like when I talked to Seth MacFarlane, it was interesting. He reads the comments. He's creating entertainment and wants to know how it's received.
Just two people having a conversation, right? That's why I love podcasts. No gravity, no frustration, just genuine dialogue.
Podcasts offer a genuine platform for dialogue, contrasting with written communications limitations. Sean shares how informal beginnings with friends in his home evolved into meaningful discussions.
I started doing it in my house and just with friends. There was no grand idea. It was just comics messing around.
For Sean, Twitter remains merely a tool for sharing content, shunning its contentious nature. He focuses on promoting thoughtful exchanges rather than direct confrontation.
Twitter is for linking, not for thinking. It's a terrible medium for conversing. Too much room for misunderstandings and aggressions. I block anyone who makes my experience less pleasant.
In conclusion, the internet's influence on public discourse mirrors cultural shifts, with podcasts revitalizing the art of conversation amidst an evolving media landscape. In a spirited exchange, the intricate topic of quantum mechanics takes center stage as misconceptions in popular media are brought to light. The film What the Bleep Do We Know is a prime example where misrepresentation led to confusion about the nature of reality.
They said, "We're doing a documentary about quantum mechanics." And they sat him down with leading questions like, "Doesn't this mean that we're bringing reality into existence by looking at it?" And he's like, "No, that's not what it means."
The guest discusses how scientist David Albert was misused in the film, pushing the false narrative that observation creates reality. Albert emphasized the importance of confronting reality honestly, rather than succumbing to self-flattering stories.
There are two things you can do when faced with fundamental puzzles of reality. Face up to what the world is trying to tell you, or tell a flattering story about yourself.
Quantum mechanics often suffers distortion because of its complexity. From wave functions to the measurement problem, each concept emerges as a source of confusion, if not correctly interpreted.
Of all the theories in science, the most easily distorted in the popular mind.
Good. This is what I'm here to do. An electron in classical mechanics is a point. But quantum mechanics says the electron has a wave function. It's this wave. It obeys the Schrödinger equation.
The guest contrasts classical and quantum mechanics, illustrating how the latter involves a spread-out wave function that behaves differently upon observation. This is where misconceptions flourish.
That's where things get squirrely, right?
Yes. And that's where they want to go woo-woo on you. When you say, "What do you mean observe something?"
By embracing the complexities of reality rather than oversimplifying them, a more accurate understanding can be fostered, bridging the gap between scientific truth and public perception. Today's exploration of quantum mechanics unveils the unpredictable nature of electron spin, challenging our understanding of reality.
Forget about where the electron is located and think about the electron is spinning. When you measure the spin, you send it through a magnetic field, and it gets deflected either up or down. You only ever get one of two answers.
This binary outcome, central to quantum mechanics, leads to unpredictability when measured under different conditions. Superposition allows an electron to exist in multiple states until observed.
Even though we knew exactly what state it was in, we couldn't predict what would happen next. In quantum mechanics, what we say is it can be in a superposition of both states.
The conversation highlights that this unpredictability is not due to a lack of understanding, but is intrinsic to quantum phenomena. Sean elucidates with uranium as an example of quantum mystery.
When you're not looking at it, the electron obeys the Schrödinger equation, going off as a spherical wave. But you never see that. When you look at it, you see a straight line.
Sean believes advancing our tools and understanding could unlock deeper insights.
You strongly feel like there are answers to these questions. We just need better tools and a better understanding.
Sean Carroll discusses the many worlds theory, emphasizing how abstract mathematical principles relate to tangible life.
There's a huge number of worlds, maybe even infinite. The good news is it doesn't really affect how you go through your life.
To metaphorically engage with multiple realities, Sean mentions Universe Splitter, an app that utilizes quantum mechanics to illustrate decisions branching into separate universes.
The app provides a symbolic connection to the idea of alternate realities. You can't talk to different universes.
The discussion reflects on quantum mechanics' influence on our perception of motion and reality, from Einstein's relativity to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle.
Position and velocity are just measurements, not core elements of reality in quantum mechanics.
Internal activities in seemingly stationary humans illustrate a world in motion.
Macroscopically, we're stationary, but inside, there's a lot going on. Cellular biology, ATP, brain signals, all show a world in motion.
Sean critiques the concept of quantum immortality, emphasizing the value of life as a continuous journey.
Act in quantum mechanics like you do in the regular world. The versions where you're dead don't matter doesn't sit right with me.
He explores Bohmian mechanics, a theory suggesting particles have actual locations alongside a single real wave function branch.
Bohmian mechanics posits a wave and a particle both exist. It's a grounded approach where only one branch is real.
Sean advocates for synergy between theorists and experimentalists, emphasizing inquiry into fundamental questions.
We need to catch up on the last 70 years of lost time and work out what the implications are of these ideas.
The passion for understanding the nature of reality invites broader participation on platforms like podcasts.
It is just an enormous privilege to be able to call your job thinking about the fundamental nature of reality.
In Sean's book, he aims to demystify quantum mechanics, bridging gaps between science and philosophical inquiry.
There are many quantum mechanics books, but they mostly focus on how bizarre it is. I suggest we could actually understand it if we tried.
He critiques the lack of significant discoveries from the Large Hadron Collider, highlighting the need for more breakthroughs.
The collider found the Higgs boson, but nothing else. We need more tangible discoveries to.
In this captivating discussion, Sean passionately explores the many worlds theory of quantum mechanics. He connects this theory to Albert Einstein's skepticism of the classical Copenhagen interpretation, which prescribes different rules based on observation. Einstein's quest was to uncover what lay hidden beneath the apparent order of reality.
Yeah, me and Einstein think this, right? Einstein is a secret hero here because he couldn't quite accept quantum mechanics. He once talked about a compass, saying there must be something deeply hidden explaining its behavior. He felt the same way about quantum mechanics and the Copenhagen interpretation.
Sean elaborates on how Einstein's curiosity led him to believe there was more beyond the accepted interpretations. This fuels Sean's exploration of the many worlds theory, which challenges the notion that reality operates under a single, linear path.
Many worlds says you're missing two things. First, you're a quantum system with a wave function too. You're treating yourself as a classical thing when measuring others. Second is entanglement mechanics, which Einstein came up with. It states there's no separate wave function for every particle.
Sean uses entanglement to illustrate how particles are intrinsically connected. This leads to the concept of splitting, where upon measurement, wave functions diverge, resulting in parallel worlds.
Hugh Everett said that when you measure an electron, you as a quantum system become entangled with it. Your wave function splits. There's a part where the electron spins clockwise and you saw it, and another where it's counterclockwise.
In these multiple worlds, different versions of reality exist, all equally real, but non-interacting. This notion radically shifts our understanding of cause and effect, reinforcing the idea that reality is a superposition rather than a single, defined path.
That is the part where my brain broke. Do you apply this to regular life? Do you think of yourself as a quantum being in a super state?
The host's bewilderment highlights the complexity and mind-bending nature of these concepts. Sean's insights challenge listeners to transcend traditional perceptions and consider a multifaceted reality shaped by quantum mechanics. In a mind-bending discussion on quantum mechanics, the many worlds theory was examined, challenging our traditional view of existence. This theory suggests a multitude of parallel universes, yet it doesn't mean every possibility actually occurs.
We don't know if it's an infinite number or just really big, but it's certainly big enough for whatever you want. Not everything happens. The Schrödinger equation must be obeyed. So, electrons will never become protons because you can't violate the conservation of charge.
The conversation traverses complex quantum laws, highlighting that while many worlds may not influence our daily lives, they change how we perceive reality.
That's the problem, right? People will be paralyzed by analysis. You should act the same as if you just lived in one universe because you can't talk to the others. Are there infinite versions of you? It's like constant whooshing of yourselves being created.
Both agree that the philosophical implications of quantum mechanics are profound, yet the experience of life remains the same. Quantum concepts are often difficult to grasp, even for experts.
It's straightforward in the equations. You don't have to act differently knowing the wave function branches. It's as it would be in the ordinary world. Even trained physicists think classically because our brains evolved this way.
They explore the transition from classical to quantum thinking, questioning why we perceive classical reality and entities such as electrons differently.
Many worlds is one version of quantum mechanics, leaning on classical experience. There were arguments between classical observers and quantum systems. Why aren't you quantum too? Understanding quantum gravity and cosmology pushes us to appreciate quantum mechanics more deeply.
Ultimately, the dialogue pushes for a broader acceptance of quantum phenomena, urging a paradigm shift from static classical views to a more dynamic quantum-centric world. The intricacies of quantum mechanics serve as a profound metaphor for the quest for enlightenment. Despite physicists' mastery of its application, the deeper mysteries remain elusive.
Quantum physics is used everywhere with precise calculations, but the understanding is incomplete. It's like a black box.
Sean emphasizes how existing academic reluctance to explore quantum mechanics' philosophical depths often steers scholars towards traditional fields like cosmology.
Historians might look back and say, they were so brilliant to invent quantum mechanics, but afraid to truly understand it. It's a missed chance to confront the nature of reality.
This avoidance reflects a broader hesitation to engage with complexities that challenge existing paradigms. Embracing this uncertainty may lead to intellectual breakthroughs. The conversation delves into how humans, like computational machines, reach intelligence thresholds that allow for symbolic reasoning. This is key to understanding complex concepts like quantum mechanics.
If you're open and put in the work, you can understand it. For example, when driving, the classical world is a very good approximation.
The guest highlights emergence, the ability to predict complex systems using minimal information, such as the Earth's movement using classical mechanics.
When we talk about the Earth orbiting the Sun, we use classical mechanics. It's incredible how using an incredibly tiny amount of information, we can make precise predictions.
Quantum mechanics often finds itself on the fringes of traditional physics departments, where philosophical exploration thrives.
By the time they get to the foundations of quantum mechanics, there's usually very little support, but philosophers find this territory fertile.
Sean reflects on quantum mechanics providing a reality check against deterministic notions like Laplace's clockwork universe.
Laplace's demon imagines a predictable universe, but quantum mechanics, with many worlds interpretation, disrupts that model.
The discussion navigates interpretations of probability in quantum mechanics, such as frequentist and Bayesian, influencing understanding of quantum phenomena.
In spontaneous collapse, things happen randomly. Hidden variables are deterministic but unknown, and the many worlds theory? It's fascinating.
Sean explains Schrödinger's initial misunderstanding and Max Born's redefinition of the wave function's role, illustrating the dynamic nature of wave function collapse.
Max Born said squaring the wave function gives the probability of an event happening.
The discussion underscores the contrast between 20th century physics practical successes and the sideline of philosophical inquiries, inviting a deeper understanding of quantum mechanics.
20th century physics was incredibly successful, but overshadowed deeper exploration.
Sean emphasizes the growing fascination with quantum mechanics among students, balancing curiosity with practical career paths.
I try to be a good advisor, challenging them intellectually but guiding towards productive careers.
The idea of creating a documentary to accurately present quantum mechanics is explored, leveraging modern technology to make complex concepts accessible.
With good computer graphics, we can visualize things that were previously difficult to explain.